to show you how to create a nesting bouquet, and this is what I'm going to show you, which has a beautiful little surprise on the inside and all the leaf work that is done to the outside, and it's on a bouquet holder. And let me show you how to start this. So you start with a sphere. This one I used an 8-inch sphere. I'm going to cut a 6-inch sphere in half because that's the only one I have left. And you take a sphere. You can get it at any local wholesalers. And I cut that in half. And then what you want to do is kind of make a line all the way around that gives you about a 1/2 inch to an inch barrier. So it's going to be your wall. So you're going to take a spoon, probably works about the best thing, and you're just going to start carving this out very gently, very easily, and work this down so that you have just an inch all the way around, and you go down as far as you want to. Now you have to leave some space to be able to do attachments, so you don't want to get rid of that completely. So don't go so deep to the bottom. But here I have an 8-inch one that I have all hollowed out. And I've got about an inch, it's probably an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, all the way around. Once you get that hollowed out, if you just kind of rub it with your fingers, it becomes nice and smooth. And then I've just surface soaked it. So that means I've just put it into a little bit of water, counted to maybe 5, and pulled it back out again. You don't want to saturate it the whole way, because then it gets really, really heavy, and you don't want that. What this does is when you surface soak that saturation, we're going to use lamb's ear, and when you put the lamb's ear on here, the surface is wet, and so that lamb's ear just absorbs that moisture and it makes it last so much longer and hold up for you. So we've got that all carved out. We're going to take an elegant bouquet holder, and this is from Smithers Oasis, and this is the one that has the wick on the inside. Well, we're going to take it apart. So I'm just going to use some pliers and just pop off the cage that's on the top, so that comes completely out. And then if you notice on the inside there's that little wick, and we're just going to pull that wick out because we don't need that. So pull that up, and that's gone too. So now I just have a hollow base to it. And then we're going to take some 12-gauge aluminum wire, and I'm just going to kind of fold that in half. Don't worry about it if it's not quite there. And this happens to be just a mega bead, so it's just a pearl. And what this does, I'm going to put it at the end of the wire because we're going to run this wire up through this bouquet holder, and that's going to prevent the wire from coming out the other end. And it also gives me just a decorative element to that very base. So what we do is then have that pearl at the very bottom. So from here, what I'd like to do then is prepare my sphere. And I've just taken a piece of plastic and put 2 holes in it, because what we're going to do is attach this to the bouquet holder with the wire. So we'll have to have something that doesn't pull through. So I'm going to put a piece of plastic just down at the very bottom of this. And I'm also eventually going to add a little piece of wood pick to this. So we run the wire up through the very center, and you want to make sure that you get it in the center and about as spaced out as your holes are in your little piece of plastic. And we're going to see where that mark is. So we're just kind of push it through like so. All right? So then I want to take it back off again, and we're going to attach that in just a second. But what we want to do is have a nice clean bottom to this. So I'm going to start with some lamb's ear and some boutonniere pins. So I'm going to take the stem off of the lamb's ear, and you see where that mark is. I'm going to go over that mark just a little bit and then pin it to the inside of that mark. And honestly, I pinned it wrong. You want to pin it at an angle so it doesn't go all the way through. So pinning that at an angle, using a boutonniere pin gives you the ability then so it's not quite so long as a corsage pin. So if you use even just the pixie pins, the smaller pins work fine too. So it takes about 7 of these leaves just to go all the way around. And I just want to do that so it gives me a clean finish. If I put that attachment on, then what happens is that then I have to try to dress that up at the very end, and I don't want to do that. So we'll take our lamb's ear, keep going with this all the way around with the lamb's ear and just pinning that in. And I like to use even some of the larger leaves at the very bottom to work them up, because we're going to work those into our leafing technique that we're going to do. So I think I probably need maybe one more. So as I have that all around, you can see now that it's given me this beautiful textural element by adding that lamb's ear. Now I'm going to go back with my holder, because I made those holes previously, so I know right where to put this. We're going to go back in and right through our foam. So from there, as you can see, I'm going to take and put my piece of plastic, and you can use anything, a piece of cardboard would work too, just anything that's going to keep it from pulling through. That gives me just a little bit of base and structure so that I can pull that up tight. Then I'm also going to use a piece of a wood pick and put that in there, and then I'm just going to twist the wires. And as I'm twisting those wires, I'm going to try to pull it as tight as I can. I'm going to cut these down a little bit so I don't scrape the sides. And twist this with just some needle nose pliers. Twist this nice and tight, and that's what holds the sphere then to our bouquet holder. So I'm going to cut that nice and short, and we're going to just kind of design over top of that and cover that all up. Push that down. So then from here, we're going to work this out. I'm not going to attach these yet along the sides. We're going to work our way through that. So I want to start to the inside and work our way out with our covering. So what you can do is just take your lamb's ear, or it could be salal leaves for that matter. I just like the texture. And just pin at the angle, pin it in, pin it to the top. So you got 2 pins in. And you just work that all the way around. And then once you have your concentric circle all the way around, then you come to the outside edge and you layer over top. And you want it, we're using decorative pins, so you can let that show, so it doesn't matter whether that's there or not. And it actually just kind of adds to that. So what I'm doing then is working this other layer in. And as you can see, just a sec, you keep going all the way around with your pins and making sure you're pinning at an angle and using your pins to add a decorative element. So that pinning then goes all the way around. So we finish this all the way around and then to that very center. So it covers everything up. When you get to the very center, you can use many different things to do that very center. Before you add all of your beautiful tender vines around the outside, you want to decorate that center. I'm going to just show you really close. There's all different types of, there's some Fitz brooches in there, there's some pearls, there's all types of different things, plus a little bit of fresh flowers that are tucked in there. I have some of that. It's a dianthus variety, it's called Star, which is just really beautiful carnation. So it's that miniature carnation. But you can see that you can use many different things down into that center, and that's when you want to do this. So whether you're adding pins, here I've got some pearls that you can add. There's all kinds of just gems, anything that's kind of glitzy, anything that give you, even chain if you wanted to. Just all different types of things that you can add down into that center. And when you're doing that, I would just glue it in with Oasis adhesive so that it stays right into that very center. I even use the end of the elegant bouquet holder and put that down in there just to use it up. And you add all of those details in. You can use some fresh flowers. I had talked about that Star miniature carnation, which is just really beautiful. Just cut that down and put it in, hydrangea, whatever you want to do. Because it's on that moisture level with all of that, because it touches all of that foam that's in that sphere, then it holds up really, really well. Here I have some of the leucadendron, just little bits and pieces. It's all about texture. It's all about bling, whatever you want to put down into that very center. And then what I do at the very last, once it's all done to the inside and you have all that beautiful detail, then I'll add all different types of tender vines around the outside edge. And this is a huge trend that we're seeing, is that the use of tender vines and vines in general, just that softness that we see. Have a little bit of blooming oregano that's around it. There's some stephanotis vines, all different types of vines that you can use. It could be lily grass, it could be bear grass too, just to give us that encasement now. So it gives us a little bit more detail, a little bit more movement, and it creates just a really fun, interesting bridal bouquet. Or it could be used for a ring bearer. This is a really fun place to put pillows. If you want to do that, if you want to create something where it's a gift, maybe it's the rings, whatever you want to do, that's attached to that, that gives us some detail. Again, using a bridal bouquet holder, it's called an elegant bouquet holder, you can create something really, really interesting.